This is a short bite episode of Homeschool Together. Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together. Imagine your town has been invaded by the Wolfman, Dracula, the creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein,
and his bride,
his crazy bride, the mummy, and the Invisible Man. You would consider yourself horrified. And you would be in the Universal Studios Monsters Universe Horrified board game.
Yes, from Ravensburger.
From Ravensburger.
So we're continuing our Halloween game series here on our short bites with Horrified. So this is a game for 1 to 5 players. It's 60 minutes. I think we took us about 45, 60 minutes. Yeah,
they say 10 and up, but we can maybe get this. You can probably squeeze in an 8-year-old.
I think an 8-year-old could totally play this. There's not as much. I mean, you have to do some reading, but it's not crazy.
Yeah.
So this is a game where you have an entire town set up, and you are choosing either 2 or 3 of these monsters to play against.
Mm-hmm.
Every turn, you're all working cooperatively. Every turn, your heroes are going to move around to different spaces within the town and collect items that they can use
or rescue people.
Right, or save villagers, and you're going to use those items. So each monster has a different a path that they need to take on there. They have this monster board, so each one you have to help kind of get down that path, and then when you finish that, then you can kill the monster. Like, for example,
and a path could be like Dracula, where you have to go and destroy 4 coffins, right. And then you have to then have a combination of resources to then ultimately defeat him.
Right. Or the creature from the Black Lagoon, you have to move your boat far enough through the swamp until you find the creature's lair.
Yeah, that's kind of like Candyland, where it's a different color and you're moving on. Right. Yeah.
The Frankenstein and his bride, you have to get them to become more human so that they'll fall in love.
Yeah.
And so, and each... So each monster has its own different condition that you have to satisfy, and then the defeat condition. So you're working towards that goal, and in each turn, you as a hero are going to take some actions. You're going to move around. You're going to collect items. You're going to save villagers, and then it's the monster's turn, and you'll draw a card randomly from the monster deck, and it will decide which monsters are going to move. And if they move, they're going to move closest to either villagers or heroes. And then you're going to roll some attack dice to see how many they defeat. Couple things. They don't, you can't kill heroes. I like that.
Yeah,
you just get sent to the hospital. I got sent to the hospital, like, I think our first turn. Dracula got me and I was sent to the hospital. The villagers, though, if he takes out a villager or if you get sent to the hospital, there's a terror level. And once that's the countdown. So we were talking about on the last episode.
It would be like analogous to the Waters Rise card in Forbidden Island. Yeah.
Right. Or the outbreak for Pandemic. So it's something that kind of, it's the countdown to the end of the game. So as you trigger more and more of those, eventually, if you get to a high enough terror rating, then you all lose together.
Yeah.
So you're going around the board, you're trying to do things cooperatively as a team, and then the monsters they're all moving around and they're going to attack people and things are going to happen. And there's plenty of unpredictable stuff that happens that, surprised you because these monster cards are drawn randomly. And I really love that you can play with, first of all, I love the classic monsters. The styling of the game is just great. And
the meeples are really cool, and all the individual townspeople were really unique.
Well, and
they're little upright stand-up little characters on little discs, on plastic discs.
Right, and they were all different characters that So like Renfield was one of the characters. Yeah. Lucy from Dracula. There's all the... Yeah. So in each different story... the villagers were people you'd recognize, and each monster has its own conditions, which I thought was so cool because any combination that you play with always makes the game different. Of course, your heroes do have different powers, so you could get one hero who's more overpowered than the others, but I thought they were all pretty evenly matched in the games that we played.
It looked like different heroes might work better against different monsters. So you may have one hero that works well. We had one that was working really nicely with the swamp, the creature from the Black Lagoon. And then we had another character that could move more, and then they could get to the, the coffins for Dracula better. Like, so, different monsters may call on different heroes, and I thought that was kind of a cool little wrinkle.
Yeah, I thought it was too. The whole styling of the game, it's not scary.
No.
It's just those classic monster movie monsters, and everything is very consistent there. Things we love about cooperative games. It's a great way for us to teach our kids how to think strategically out in the open. Right, when we're playing adversarial games, we're not sharing with them our strategy as we play. And when we play cooperatively, that's something that we get to share, and they get to see, oh, Dad is thinking about this way, and it helps to level up their strategic thinking. It helps with communication. So I think that there's some really good elements in games like this. Of course, it's perfectly themed for Halloween.
And it's very nice. They have a nice gameplay overview on Ravensburger on how to play this. To put the link on the back of the box as well. I agree with you. I like the monster aspect. It's it's very. I think the styling's really cool, and I thought the meeples were really nice. The whole town aspect, it's kind of like designed like little bubbles with roads connecting various, like the theater or the hospital or the school, and then there's some caves and police station, and so there's all these different areas of the town, and then there's these kind of subterranean elements where the monsters can use, like the creature from the Black Lagoon could take the river and go to different areas of the town, so he could then spring up in different places. So it's kind of cool. I really liked it. You'll see a lot of commonalities with this game with respect to Pandemic, as we said earlier, the Forbidden Island. But I like the aspect, like if you're really more into monsters, and maybe like, I'm not really into those type of games, this might be a better cooperative game for you to choose.
Yeah, I think it's really great. You can usually get it low 20s. You can usually find it on sale for $22, $23.
Is this exclusive at Target?
No, it's now sold at Amazon too, I believe. So
for a little while, this was. Yeah.
I believe it was. They have a new one coming out that's American monsters. This has Bigfoot and some other more classic American monsters. But yeah, I think it's just a solid game. It's really fun. I think this is the perfect kind of fun Halloween game. We have other scarier games like Betrayal at House on the Hill that have darker elements. There's nothing really super dark here. This is more like campy monster fun.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in here that would be scary for kids. If you have an 8-year-old that can play, if you have younger kids that want to help out with the game while you're playing, there's nothing in here that's would be too inappropriate or scary, I don't think.
Yeah, what's the other one that we have for... It was the Cthulhu series.
Right, we have Arkham Horror. That
yeah.
one's got some dark elements to it,
yeah,
too.
it's kind of... And even the styling of the monsters and some of the topics were pretty dark, so this didn't really have that.
Yeah, this is more just
it has a little bit of
campy monsters, is all I can say.
There's a little bit of the, like, oh my God, is the monster close to me? Is he going to get me? That type of fun thing. I think kids would, respond nicely to that.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like, oh, Dracula's right there. He's coming, that type of thing. That was kind of fun. But yeah, you're right. It's not really, there's nothing really objectionable about any of the drawings or, terrorizing. I remember in the Arkham Horror one, it did have some of the styling of the cards were kind of like, that cosmic horror, kind of scary, lots of tentacles, and that type of thing. I think that might be a little much for a younger kid. I think this would match a little bit better.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, but definitely had a lot of complexity. We won our games that we've played so far, so it's not one of those. Sometimes games are super hard to win. Like we talked about last week when we talked about Hocus Pocus, and we lost both of our games. And this one we won and didn't have too many problems doing that. We used the easier monsters, so there are definitely some monsters that are harder, and you can add a third monster, and we have not added a third monster yet, but this is one of those games that I think will have a lot of longevity in our collection because it's got such a great theme, and with the different monsters you can mix it up. I also saw on Board Game Geek, there's a number of folks who have created their own custom monster cards.
That's
so
awesome.
You can play with different movie monsters, and they've made their own conditions and things. So you can add those into your game if that's something that interests you. So I think that's fun.
Are they 3D printing their own meeples?
I'm sure some people
I'm sure
are.
some people are.
But I mean, they've got several. I can't think of any creatures off the top of my head, but I was just amazed how many, additional monster character cards people have come up with that you could add into
That's cool.
the game that you already bought. So,
Yeah, there's a nice little growing community around the gameplay. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great. So this is Horrified from Ravensburger.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
Happy homeschooling!